Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play those karmic themes, help you understand why your person is doing what they're doing, why you're attracting that person into your life from a spiritual perspective, because God knows from a logical perspective, a lot of times we don't understand. All we know is that the person is triggering us, or they say one thing, they do another. We're not living their reality. And that's the key, to understand that there's many different realities that play out at one time. So whatever you choose to do is going to be what determines your karma. And so a lot of times people don't realize just by being nice, we wind up getting karma when you're dealing with a soulmate. Hey, Angelique, what are you doing on here so during the day? I figured I'm going to start be doing a lot more live videos. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, know that like I like to always pick a card in the video, and the card in the video is just the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Really important when we're dealing with a person that wears masks and create facades. So understand the readings may come across a little negative. It's not that they're negative. It's that people that have spiritual blockages, their habits, their behaviorisms are like obviously not in alignment with what they truly feel. Why I'm telling you is not so you can manipulate the situation, but so that you could avoid any negative karmic consequences, which is what you'd have to deal with when you're dealing with the karmic. Hey, I haven't seen you around in a while. All right, so let's see what the underlining energy is. It's omniscience. Oh, you think so? Thank you. I feel like a mess. I was up since 5 in the morning for a BNI, and I'm hot and I'm cold and I'm hot and I'm cold. I can't. It's like that's the issue. It's like it's too hot outside and then it's too cold inside. So anyway, omniscience is the energy of God. It is God. It's that energy is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's the prana that we breathe. It's the energy that's inside of us. When we're in the most open and receptive energy, we are actually in that energy of the higher self. The higher self is a God part of self. So I'm already thinking that, this is going to be like a past life karmic mate or a twin flame or a soulmate. Again, there's a spiritual lesson. Why? Because we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. What are you supposed to be learning? That you're not separate from your creator, that you can actually create whatever it is that you want. The spiritual blockages are what prevents you from that. So when we're have this energy, it's telling me that you're probably pulling towards you someone that needs your energy. You need healing, they need healing. And so the relationship comes out like that. There's a purpose for relationships, and the relationships are to teach about unconditional love. That's what all relationships do, but it's those karmic mates that have the potential to do damage. So let's see. Again, criticism. So I feel like you've been in separation from someone because you said something that they didn't like, and understand it's okay that they say certain things to you, but it's not okay that you say certain things to them. So automatically, that you're dealing with a person that's on a lower vibration. And I say that because if a person has wounds, everything that you say, they're going to hear it as if you're criticizing them, which means you're never allowed to tell this person how you feel, what you want, what your expectations are. You're not allowed to actually lay boundaries because the person hears it as if you're criticizing them. But a person wouldn't hear that if they didn't have trauma. Remember, we see what we look for. Well, we hear also what we look for to listen to. It's their way of not having to go that deep. Do they do it consciously? No. But the problem is like they make the relationship like almost impossible because of it. It's like because you see it as games. Like you can't communicate, but you don't really want to hear what I have to say. Well, they want to keep you stuck. It's like I don't have to give you anything because hey, you get emotional, you get, and this person, gets off on that. And it's mainly because they're lost. They don't really, they don't, they've been abandoned more times in relationships. So a deep connection is something that's scary for this person. Just because you feel that it's a spiritual connection doesn't mean that the person feels comfortable with it. So I always like to look at the spiritual cards then, because it's like, well, then what's the point? Like, what are they really feeling? Or is there a bigger purpose to the relationship? Or is this person just coming into my life to aggravate me? Well, understand they're coming into your life to definitely trigger you because that awakens your wounds, again, where you need healing. But it's also if you integrate that spiritual lesson, there's gifts on the other side of it, and it's to awaken this person. Like, for instance, they don't feel like they're deserving of your love. They're worried that you'll actually leave them when you really see who they are. So there's someone that has masks. They know that they create facades and illusions. Again, it's okay if I keep you at an arm's length, but if I let you in close, you see who I am, you're not going to stay. So again, I'm not really who I say I am. This is the issue of intimacy issues. What you'll see is that the person will play baby games. Well, thank you, Melissa. So, our hearts are connected. Take a moment to close your eyes and feel the connection. So, again, unconditional love is just that. We don't have control over it. It doesn't mean that it's easy for a person, but that's why we're here. Our God given energy, the energy of the universe, the energy is love, unconditional love. The whole point of why we're here. People don't volunteer to fall in love. They just kind of fall in love. This person would come across as able to like give other people their feelings and emotions, almost like act nicer to strangers. And then you're like, okay, here I am. And you're like ignoring me, but you say that you love me because it's an intimacy issue. It's a trust issue, but it'll make you feel as if there's something wrong when really it's the fact that this person doesn't really think that they're good enough for love. You see, you're going to get to know me. You're not going to want to stay with me. But again, they can't deny that there is a connection. There's a lesson to be learned from this. Like, didn't I just say that? That's like, and it's, and why that comes up is not that your person thinks that, because I don't think that they're that evolved. I think it's more like, I don't know why, but I know that there's a connection. I know I can't move forward. I know that maybe they say there's a bigger thing to this, but as far as lesson, the lesson is that they don't really think that they can have love. And meanwhile, you could be showing them that you really truly are open and want to be with them, but it's their own belief about themselves. I feel our energy merging together as if it has a life of its own. We are becoming one again. So I think it's like this person's tried to walk away several times and tried to say, well, I don't really need to. It's easier to be a player. It's easier to, have a bunch of different people that I'm into. This way I don't get close. But what happens is they can't control love. And so you'll be like, this isn't love. Understand, the love that you want, it may not be. It still is love because it's unconditional. The person has no control over it. They just love. Do they like the feeling? No, it scares them. They're not volunteering to it. It's just what it is. And that's when the person has had a lot of, like I said, blocks. But what they're learning is that love is eternal. It exists in every dimension and can't be lost no matter what they do. It's like where I think that this person for a long time was like, I don't fall in love. it doesn't happen to me, that doesn't happen to me, when really they're the ones that sabotage the relationship because they don't form the actual emotional connection that you would actually need to have a successful relationship. Because without that emotional connection, they're not being respectful, they're not paying attention enough to the other person. But it's not because they don't want to, it's more like they're afraid. Not that that matters. I mean, but it matters when you say this is just you. You can look at it without getting triggered, so that you can again see again, and that this person tends to give away their energy to other people. And so they're not strong in themselves. They don't even know who they are. So they give their if they're giving their power and their energy away to other people, well, then it could be family, it could be an ex karmic, it could be. So this person has already had bad relationship. And so they are giving their time, their energy, or they have, as a way of codependency because they feel inadequate about themselves. And now, of course, when we give our energy away because we feel inadequate, we always get that result back. We get people that don't really care about us, that tend to betray us, where now this person's not happy. So they're not happy, and they're finally like looking back on you and being like, I've controlled this to really stay away, where really what's happening is they're becoming more and more and more and more and more uncomfortable. As again, don't listen to other people, trust yourself. I think that this person actually asks people what they should do. And that's what happens when a person's not strong within themselves. They are going to ask other people. And the thing is, I don't think that this person has very positive people around them. Hey. Okay, this is John Diamond. And that's the thing, they push it. And so look, this person's inner child needs to come first at this point, and the relationship has brought them back to that. So understand, the universe doesn't care whether you're with the person or not. The universe cares whether you revert your energy back to your original energy of unconditional love, so you can be abundant, so you can attract what you want. Doesn't care. You have free will to choose whatever it is that you want. Whatever you want to do, whoever you want to date, whatever you want to do, you have full reign. If you can imagine it, you can create it. Understand that. However, if you're walking around and you hate yourself and you're like, I don't deserve enough love, and I'm afraid that I get into a relationship, everyone's going to leave me, the universe kind of has a problem with that, because then the universe is saying, well, this person doesn't love themselves, and that's not an extension of me. That's actually out of alignment, because I'm the energy of love. So this person doesn't have love. So I'm going to bring them people and situations that force them to see things differently. This person didn't volunteer to have feelings for you, didn't volunteer to have a spiritual connection to you, wouldn't want that. So understand, it doesn't look normal. Their first reaction is to be triggered. Understand that's going to be triggering for you. That's where your healing is. And we'll look at that. But this person, you, instead of feeling all fuzzy and nice like a relationship should feel, this person, like, is a child. They play games. Sometimes I feel like you're speaking to me in my head and it triggers me because I wonder how much you can see into me. So again, this person, you're on their mind subconsciously, like they're listening to a song, and could you imagine? And they're like, I know that you know, because that ESP through the heart and mind, and then that deep connection. And then on top of it, this person doesn't like who they are. So it's like, and you can see into them. So it's almost like, imagine someone peeping through your windows that you didn't want to like peep through your windows. It's like this person feels vulnerable. They feel uncomfortable, but no one could make them feel uncomfortable unless they felt that way about themselves. So again, it's bringing it to the forefront, and it's also bringing it to the forefront that they're asking for other people's opinions on what to do about this situation. And then it said, don't listen to anyone because you're giving away all your power. This person gives all their power away because they're so nervous. They can't think for themselves, that they're asking. And as I said, I feel like they're asking the wrong people, because people have been benefiting from, hey, get this person to do everything. They can be the slave. I don't want you to go and meet someone else. You're going to meet somebody else. If you meet someone else, then there goes my paycheck. There goes the help that you give to me, the attention you give to me. So that's the issue. Hey, the story time kitchen. you know uh so again, but this person is, they dream about you. Sometimes it's sexual, obviously. Other times it's visualizing your future together. So where this person is like, obviously would, uh, there would be strong chemistry. They would be very attracted. Otherwise, they wouldn't stick around long enough to heal this. You know what I mean? This person has very low self esteem. So that's the catalyst. And they're like, could it actually work? Maybe it might work. They're listening to the wrong people, and they're clearly not happy in the situation that they're in, that they've created themselves. So again, they're slowly awakening to what they're doing. I can't validate our love in the 3D until I understand our spiritual love in the 5D, which they're never going to be able to do this. They're trying to logic. They're trying to logic their validate love in the 3D. You can't. It's unconditional. And that's, again, where this person's fear is coming from. Give me time. They'll be spending the rest of time trying to figure it out. Like, you're going to hurt me? Like, if we have this strong of a connection and I've gotten hurt before, you're really going to hurt me? Like, what are you going to do? I'm awakening. I know more than I'm letting on. So again, they know that you're someone important. They know that they're giving their power away. They know that they're not happy. I've been so grounded all my life. It's hard for me to trust the spiritual element of our connection. Again, so it's a strong spiritual connection, which logically doesn't make sense. But if this person logically looks at their love life, they don't think that they're worthy of love. They don't like who they are. They think people are going to leave. So it's nevertheless going to be very frustrating for this person, because we keep going around this like loop of, yeah, I know you're my person, but I can't validate our love because it's, again, in the spiritual. I'm awakening. I know more than it's going on. However, I can't validate our love. Again, this person is still like trying to control because of their fear. So what they're going to do is eventually they'll exhaust themselves and come to a place of surrender, which is inevitably what the universe is making this person do. The universe saying, well, I'll wait. You can do that all you want. And, but you're still not going to be able to control love, because love is the strongest energy that there is. It can't be destroyed. It can't be manipulated. It just is, whether you like it or not. So again, but this is where this person is. It's like they're grounded, but too much grounded is in survival mode. And survival mode, based on this person's experiences, like I said, they don't like who they are. So let me see. I was going to pick more from this deck, which is, I'm trying to understand how our thoughts create our reality. Again, this person is overthinking it, trying to find a way. Like, their inner guidance is clear, but their ego is resisting it. And that's because of the fear. And the feelings are just overwhelming. And so they become afraid. So they run from you because of it, which we know. So you're like, so are they ever going to do anything? Is anything ever going to happen from it? Or are they just going to do this? Well, right now, if they're in this point, Spirit says the most important thing that you do is you do your healing. Why? Because once you do the healing, you change the dynamic of the connection. That's the thing. So there's a reason why this person is coming into your life. And understand, yes, it's frustrating and it hurts and it's a pain in the ass. And why do I have to deal with this? And all of that. That's how you know it's a trigger. But Spirit says, because you have fragmentation there. So you have to integrate the spiritual lesson. If you don't heal the spiritual lesson, it's going to be a karmic loop where you're like, I always get people like this. This is always my story. Where Spirit says that doesn't need to be your story. You have to integrate the spiritual lesson. And first by saying, Well, where did the fragmentation start? Like what chakra did it start at? Like what happened? Because that's going to tell you why the karmic theme is what it is. You're like the karmic theme that continues to loop. And so again, protection, self-love, source, time and attention, shame. I hate that card. Self-sabotage. And that's why I don't like shame, because whenever you see shame, you always see self-sabotage. One right after the other. 4, 5, 6. And why I say that is, again, if we didn't feel safe, and then safety comes more psychologically and emotionally than it does anything else when we're a kid, right? Again, your parent could be dirt poor, but if they show you that they love you and support you, it doesn't matter. It's like you can like play with a friggin' fork and a knife and it would be like enough. So again, the safety, because protection is perceived from our parents at first. It's perceived from the family that we grow up in, the support that we have. And so when there's no time or attention because maybe there's not enough money, maybe your parent had to work all the time. So it's not a blame game. We have to just understand, where did it come from? Because we have to override the analytical reptilian mind that'll be like, I don't want to heal. I'm not doing that. You're gonna ask me to be uncomfortable. I'm not gonna be uncomfortable. But if we understand where the wound came from, like, well, I didn't get the time and attention, and when I really needed that support, because there were things happening to me. Maybe you were dating someone. Maybe you had a friend that was more of a bully. Maybe you again didn't just feel safe, and you needed that support. There wasn't anyone there. So again, that feeling, and instead of you giving yourself self-love, you gave your attention and time to other people to try to get that love, because that's a normal thing. If we're not getting what we need at home, we're going to look for it outside. It's just what happens, as children. And so I feel like you had a lot of self-sabotaging behaviorisms then, because what happens is that you try to mold with the environment. You try to be friends with people that, they didn't work for your friendship, so they're not going to really respect you. There's no common interest. You're over giving, overdoing, because hey, there's no one that's giving you that, again, emotional support. And when like I say, I see shame, this is not just that you didn't get support, but maybe again, either you were coming from a survival mode and you had to do things out of desperation, so shame happened. You were reliant on certain people to get that emotional support, and that is what brought the shame. It was either way. Shame leads to self-sabotaging behavior because of how we feel about ourselves. No one wants to feel shamed. Now, a parent may shame you because of what you look like, what you want to wear, you know, whatever your sexuality is, whatever it is, whatever their perception was. That, and if it wasn't your parents, it could have been a teacher. It was somebody of support, someone of authority that made you feel like, well, like that you were inadequate. And like shame is that, is I'm inadequate. There's something wrong with me. I'm bad. Where again, no one's bad. People do things that may be bad, but no one is bad. It's like, because everybody has that energy of love inside of them. Even the people that we don't like, the more fragmentation, the more, again, sabotaging behaviorisms that there are, because the more spiritual blocks of shame that there are. Shame and guilt and victimization. But right here, we're seeing shame. And when a child is being shamed, they're not doing things to create the love, to fill their cup up, obviously, all the way. They're looking for the answer outside of themselves. So that's what happened. And due to that trauma, You have a very close connection to source because you have a close connection to the higher self. The higher self is the God part of self. And when you're shamed, you're not out there, hey, how you doing? A lot of times you're looking, yes, you're trying to be friends with the friends, but there's a lot of internalization. There's a lot of, I don't feel safe, especially if you didn't feel protected. You're trying to give yourself the protection. So, where spirit says, remember, there are no mistakes, but if you were in survival, you weren't creating your life. You weren't, there you got gifts from living in that environment. I mean, we all do. However, that's not who you are. You're not your trauma. You're not your shame. There's nobody that's their shame or what they did or the car that they drove or anything like that. Everyone is the energy of love. It's we are connected to each other through that oneness. That's why it's called one. It's like it's a connection to each other and to our creator. And so when we're actually in the energy of unconditional love, we're open to receiving and we're open to being able to manifest whatever we want to manifest. However, we all hold spiritual blockages. There's not one person on the planet that doesn't have spiritual blockages because we're down here to learn and we're down here to learn that we're not separate from our creator. The illusion of abandonment. But then the truth is that we abandon ourselves for the wrong relationships, for the wrong whatever it is that our perception where spirit's saying it's like understand that everyone's right where they're supposed to be. Even if you say, well, I don't fucking like where I am. And spirit says, well, believe it or not, you're supposed to be there, whether to learn, whether to heal, and know that nothing's permanent. So it's about you now taking the energy. And the energy, obviously, if you're not going to be with this person, because this person is kind of childish, as you can see, it's not that they don't have feelings, but you can't go to this person. And then, because if you make it easy for them, you're going to be more disrespected. It's like they'll love the attention, but they don't know how to treat you. And that would eventually make you feel like shit over time to be with someone like that. So, Spirit says, if you're going to give time to this person, it shouldn't be that much more to you. Love yourself first because, again, spirit's inside of you. And know, yeah, harness all that emotional energy. Harness it because that's where you are able, that's the energy that you can channel with. That's creative energy, that you're powered by the divine, that you have the energy of the divine behind you. And it's about so finding other people. If you didn't have support, which obviously no time and attention, growing up that way, and the self love, spirit says, don't get into another relationship being codependent. That it's again, you have to find your tribe. You have to go out and find the support. Why? Because if you give too much to this person, it's relationships that happen over time. Trust is something that happens over time. No expectation, no ownership. Remember, that's what unconditional love is. So, if you have a full life, a rich life, and you're emotionally getting fed from other people, like again, that support, that's not going to make you feel as if you're alone. Well, again, that then that person is free to have their natural unfoldment process and showing you how they love. And you might be like, this person's an asshole, they're not going to do it. Well, they would be an asshole, and but understand when they turn around and they stalk you or look and see what you're doing to see that you're not affected by them and having a good old time. Well, even if you didn't want to be back with them, it would still teach them that lesson. You snooze, you lose. You didn't have confidence. This person doesn't care about your games. They're over there. They're having a good old time with themselves. It's like, you teach people because it's not like this person doesn't have feelings. They just are too much of a baby and immature to like do what they need to do. I'm afraid that you're not going to like me. Well, I don't fucking like that. That's what I don't like. It's like I wouldn't have a problem with you if you weren't so busy not liking yourself to think that I'm not going to like you, that we can't even get off the ground. That's the problem here. It's like, but know that Spirit's saying, well, you brought this person to you because, again, they're not going to give you that love because I need you to reparent yourself. Again, you didn't learn how to do that because you didn't get the time and attention. You didn't get the nurturing. You didn't get the love. You were shamed. Oh, you need that? Ugh, problem. I have to work full time. It's like we barely have money to cover whatever. And now you need that. Parents, sometimes we're not exactly sensitive to, I mean, it's not, well, sorry, I was born, like sometimes it wasn't done purposely. Sometimes it was done just because, oh, it was stressful. There was a lot of things going on. Maybe your parent was sick or they had just stress, they weren't taught. But the child self then learns to compromise, say, well, if I'm not going to get it there, I'm going to get it somewhere else. Like I said, instead of generating it. But Spirit says you need to create the support yourself and understand that you're not on like a wrong way. Some people go to college and they go to school and they do whatever, and it's kind of cookie cutter. And other people, the universe makes a way. Understand other people actually create themselves, I should say. You know, some people go to school, other people create themselves. But either way, whichever route you take, the universe conspires a way where there is no way just for you, one that no one can take. And because it's actually an unfoldment process that happens while you're on it. So understand it's not going to be the one that anyone else travels. It's going to be the one that only you travel because it's one that your higher self is leading you. And you don't know until you're intuitively in the moment and you're being led. And you say, why does the universe do that? And the universe says, because someone might try and take you off your track, someone might try and take what's yours, but no one can take what's yours because it's, again, this is a co-creation process that's actually always happening. It's meant for you. So, which is meaning your spiritual sovereignty, whatever it is that you want to create for your life, there is nothing. So create it, and that you're on it. Just because this happened doesn't mean you're on the wrong track. It's to help create awareness for you, which Spirit would be like, you're giving too much time to a person that is that insecure. You know what I mean? It's making you insecure. What can you do to make yourself not feel insecure? Well, see, beyond the illusion, discern what's truth from what's fake, and also learning how to be vulnerable. And that's like, well, how am I going to be vulnerable once I got into connection with this person like this that betrayed me? And Spirit says, through your friends, through the support, through creating yourself, by giving and receiving of love, through your free will, by becoming what you want to see within the world. It's again because that is how you co-create. That's how you fill your own cup up all the way so that it would force this person eventually to either shit or get off the pot. It's like either do something. And because you're like your life is moving ahead regardless. And you're going to be meeting people and situations are going to unfold in your life that are emotionally going to fulfill you. And you're telling that person, I don't need you, not because you're saying I don't need you, but what you're showing this person is you're not the reason why I get up in the morning. It's like I actually have purpose. I don't need you to do anything. It's like, and believe me, that abandonment that they'll feel, even though you're not abandoning them, but they'll perceive it like you are because of their wound, they'll come back because it's like that. And who knows to say that you would even want them back? The universe doesn't care. The universe just cares that this person stops being like that. And for you to, again, to have the courage to lead from your heart and not from your head, like survival. And that happens, you can only do that when you're creating yourself, when you're manifesting yourself. I would never say to lead with your heart when dealing with just people, but when it comes to creating yourself, because then the universe is going to bring you the right people into your life that you're going to be able to trust. but you'll have discernment because you won't be so close up to the picture and you won't be overgiving this person. I feel like you just overgave to this person thinking, well, they're going to treat me the way that I treated them, and they don't know how to do that. And Spirit says infinite possibilities are here for you. Don't don't sit there and wait for this person to catch up. Understand, I feel like eventually they would catch up because again they have feelings. Let's pull one and just see. I couldn't express all my feelings for you. No shit. You're not tell us something that we want to know. We want to know, like, is this person like, we already know that they're not capable of doing that. But again, I feel connected to you like no other I've had. And that's what I'm saying. So is this person gonna come back? Like it's like I feel like I need someone, like, no, not yet. It's like it's almost like this person is like, can I replace you? Can I, I need someone to help me get over you. um like it's almost like that right now in this phrase. Again, I'm confused whether I have what it takes to be with you. So it's like, and that's translating into like, I don't know if I have what it, like, if, like I said, this is the energy. So Spirit's saying, don't wait for this person. But I also say, don't be surprised if this person all of a sudden pops up, even though the cards aren't saying it, because they still have that feeling towards you. It's just, I feel like right now they're in the mode of, I really don't want to come back because I don't want to be, vulnerable. Where really you're being asked to be vulnerable, but that would not obviously be with this person. So I think that what it is that they're just not mature enough. And Spirit saying it's about you going into your own life, giving yourself that self-love, reparenting yourself. Understand that you have infinite possibilities out there. Why waste your time with a person that's going to keep you depleted because of their insecurity? You're not the fixer. It's, again, you don't need to do that. And maybe as a child you didn't, you didn't feel protected. You didn't get that time and attention. So you were that fixer. Spirit says, don't be the fixer. It's like, this is about you healing yourself so you can attract exactly what you want. And I'm going to pull one more, and this is a new opening. See? The Spirit says, when one door closes, be confident that another will open and that it will be for your betterment. That you accept that life brings challenges and acknowledge the opportunity and learning they present to you. Serenity comes from within. And that's pretty much what Spirit was saying. Like, this person, it's not that they don't have love, they have love, but who cares if that's what it looks like for you? It's the Spirit saying, if you're getting someone like that, it means that you need to, again, you haven't sought out all your opportunities clearly, that you don't see your worth, then is what Spirit's saying. And you would need to do that in order to attract the right person into your life. All right. Now, I always like to say, does anyone have any questions for me? Does anyone have any questions for me? I wasn't able to read any of your. Oh, I just put my hair up. Thank you. I just didn't feel like, just it gets hot and down here. It's like 95 degrees outside. It's so hot. I have curly nappy hair. It gets frizzier by the second, so it's just easier to have it. And I have to be up at 5 in the morning on Thursdays. So guys, I'm going to be doing like Q&As at night and doing like little topics. Do you guys want to learn anything like specific? You can put it in the description box so that tomorrow night when I go on live, I can have a topic and you guys can be, like I said, interactive. I'm going to be doing this for super chats. So it's like, when people ask me a question, I give very detailed healing information. A lot of times you guys don't need like a full reading. It's just more like questions, but it's also around topics. Yeah. So whatever topic like you're like that you've been struggling with, anything could be addictions, it could be any shadow, it could be anything. And we'll also be doing like obviously love spreads, but a lot of times it's I want you guys to know that it's still it should come back to all about your own healing, right? I mean, because that's what your relationships represent, your healing, that you're not what that person is. It's that they trigger you to make you feel a certain way, and that's where your healing goes. Once you heal, then, like I said, it doesn't mean that you don't get people that'll do the same thing. The difference is that they don't stay in your life, and then eventually they don't even stay, like they don't even come to you because they'll see, well, you're not going to entertain it. And so it's the way that we deal with things a lot of times. And remember, the habits and the behaviorisms that you created to help you survive when you were a child will a lot of times be what stagnates you and block you from thriving in your relationships and other areas. And so we really have to be present, but we can easily do it. All right. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you guys definitely tomorrow, if not later. All right. Love you. Bye.